Welcome back to the Malted Man Cave. Tonight we have something truly special for you. We have the Bunnahabhain 18. And we also have a special guest tonight, my brother-in-law, F-16 fighter pilot Bad A, Timothy Scariano, who happened to be the gentleman that turned me on to this beauty. So again, I'm cheating on my other co-host David Bruns for the second time, but it's only with family members.
It's family this time. It's good.
It's only family.
Okay.
You know, it was my cousin last time, and now my brother-in-law. So, like I said, we're doing Bunnahabhain 18. It is non-show filtered. Check. We like that. Non-colored. Check again. And a 46.3 ABV. So, craft presentation. So, we're already starting off on a good start. So, without further ado, Tim, I don't know if you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about you and tell us about how you found out about this.
You bet. So I used to live in Germany for a couple of years, and the wife and I took a trip, or actually took a couple trips out to Scotland just for fun, and it actually checked two squares.
So
right?
jealous.
So one, she wanted to see the countryside. Two, I love Scotch, so it worked out great that we kind of had a great place that we could both enjoy. So I came across a place called the Scotch Whiskey Experience. It's just outside of Edinburgh Castle. Been there twice now. And the second trip that we went there, I'd already had, tried a lot of different scotches. And this particular bar that's in the Scotch Whiskey Experience has over 400 bottles of scotch that are all available to try, obviously for a price, to be sure. But so I walk in this next time, and I asked the barkeep, I'm like, hey man, I'm looking for something that I haven't tried before. I really like smooth. And he said, okay, so what's your preference? What are you drinking right now? I said, well, I really like Glengoyne 21. I really like Lagavulin Distillers Edition or Ardbeg. And his eyes, he goes, dude, seriously? Like, that's two completely opposite ends of the spectrum, which is true. However, based on the fact that I really like something smooth, he suggested the Bunnahabhain 18. So he brought out a dram of Bunnahabhain 18. I took one sip and
Fell in love?
That was it. It was over. I said, Jen, let's go. Went right to the store out front, bought a bottle, and that was it. That was like 4 bottles ago of this stuff.
How much did it cost you in Scotland?
Oh man, I think it was 100. I think it was 100 pounds, which was close to about 150 bucks. So oddly enough, Scotch is actually more expensive in Scotland than it is even here in the States, because they charge a tax if you're not from Great Britain. I know. So literally the barkeep was like, hey man, don't buy this here. You're gonna pay more for it than you would other places. But I hadn't seen the bottle before, so I was like, nope, I'm not taking a chance. I'm gonna buy it here. If I find it someplace else, great. Oddly enough, I have found it in other places, as we just found out this past week. As Keith was visiting us in Sumter, South Carolina, we actually came across a couple of places that had it.
Of all places, who would have
Sumter, South Carolina.
Sumter,
if you're asking where is Sumter,
Carolina.
yeah, put that in maps and see where that is. It's a hole in a wall and dead smack in the middle of South Carolina, and they actually, not only did they have it, but they had it for a great price.
Super great price.
Great price. So it was really cool to find that, and yeah, and
we shouldn't tell people we're at the store that we got it.
I know, yeah.
Because the well's gonna run dry for you.
Let them buy the $135 bottle. We won't tell them about when we found it for cheaper. Right. So anyhow.
So when did you actually bring this to me? Was this
This was last summer. Yeah.
Last summer. He let me try it. And I don't know, because I thought for a second there I thought it was peated, and
it's an Islay Scotch, so which is why you would think it's peated. It's an Islay Scotch, and I want to say it's the only Islay Scotch that isn't heavily peated. So the barley is actually peated lightly.
Brook Laddie doesn't as well.
Right.
But it's one of the few, and that's kind of becoming a trend now that there are some more distilleries in Islay that are not peated. Mm-hmm. But you're right. At the time, I think it was one of the few that wasn't.
And it's lightly peated. Yeah. Which I mean,
sure?
It doesn't come out according to to whatever the history of it. But I can't taste any peat or smell any peat for that matter. But yeah, it's definitely doesn't carry any, like, if you're thinking Lagavulin, Lefroy,
this is not what
this is
you're
Ardbeg. No. This is not that type of Islay Scotch.
So, like I said, I was kind of, at the time, I did not like peated Scotch. I was like, whoa, I don't know about this. So he gave it to me, and I swear, it was the most creamy, like salted caramel chocolate earthy thing I've ever tasted in my life, and I was immediately in love. So he, we'll keep him in the family for a little bit longer. So
as long as we keep bringing in some good Scotch, right?
Exactly. So without further ado, enough blabbering. What do you get on the nose?
The first thing that comes to mind is you definitely can tell it's a sherried Scotch. You can smell the sherry from me, and with the sweetness, pralines. I think certainly comes to mind.
Which I actually gave him some Abelauer Abuna before we actually tried this evening, and he had never had it before. And did you like it?
Yeah, it was very good.
And I was telling him that it's very well known for having pralines, that praline taste. And he was kind of doing the notes, and he told me, he was like, you know what, that is in there too. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
For
Now
sure.
he is saying, for those of my friends who are not from the north.
Oh, am I saying it incorrectly?
He's saying pralines, which I don't know what a praline is. I know what a praline is.
A praline. You got a pretty mouth there, boy.
Hey,
I got some
I'm
pralines.
just
I got
saying.
some crawfish.
Resident expert, praline. I don't know what that is. But yeah, you can definitely tell it's a sherry scotch. It's got some sweeter notes to it, of which obviously pralines and really toffee.
Yeah.
I think kind of, for me at least, it certainly stands out.
For sure. So I get kind of a sweet tea, kind of like you'd even get at McDonald's. I'm sure you would be the expert on sweet tea. You're looking at me like, McDonald's sweet tea.
At McDonald's.
Sweet tea that kind of fades into like sea salt air, which obviously, like he said before, Bunnahabhain is a Isla distillery. It's right there on the coast. So in all these dunnage warehouses, they're just soaking in this sea salt air, and it kind of gives it that amazing salty character. So I get that. I get a mild milk chocolate and honey. This is like the only, that's not true, not the only, but the most prominent scotch that I've had where it's like this earthy soil. And I know it doesn't sound that good. I want to go
Let's go
sniff
eat
some
some dirt.
soil, but I don't know, with like the salted caramel, like
Yeah,
with the sweet tea and the honey, like it works. And I think I put on my notes, I actually put that if you want to know what happens when you age in a dunnage warehouse, this is what you get. This mild, like chocolatey, earthy, just deliciousness. So, dunnage warehouses, it's the way to go.
Indeed.
You got anything else on the nose?
Not really. That's pretty much all I got, man. That's all I got. I've been sniffing it, man.
I'm tapped out. I also get dark fruits and
I don't know how much more you have to sniff.
mint chocolate ice cream. Do you smell that? Do you get the kind of mint chocolate?
I don't. Truth be told, I don't. I saw you. That was in one of your notes, and that's what I've been trying to smell. I'm like, man, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting mint chocolate. That's not to say it's not there. I'm just not picking up on it.
Okay. What do you get on the palate?
You certainly, again, you can tell it's a sherry scotch. It's definitely a sherry scotch to be sure. But you definitely get that, much like he was saying with the briny nose. I think you get a briny palate as well. Not heavy briny, like it's not like a Talisker to me. Like a Talisker to me is very briny. You could definitely tell it sits right there on the sea. But this is a lot more subtle, and I think that's kind of the overarching theme for the palate itself. Is there's a lot of subtle flavors. And sorry from stealing your thunder here, but I think you're absolutely right. A lot of subtle flavors. That nothing really punches you in the face, but all the subtle flavors really work together to form a really interesting flavor. I also pick up caramel, to be sure, and really as it transitions towards that finish, which I'll cover the finish here in a little bit, as it moves towards that finish, you definitely pick up some leathery. I pick up some leathery notes as well.
I can see that. So on the palate for me, I get a slight hint of cola. On the Spring Break 12 cast strength, which I actually let him have, and you said you like that.
Fantastic.
That's one of my favorites
fantastic.
right now. I like it's Coca-Cola. Like I got it on the palate. It's not as intense as that. Just on the palate, it's just a slight cola, like RC cola, that's just barely there in the background. A little bit of like powdered Nesquik, that like chocolate, like us poor people we mix around to make our chocolate milk. And like
it's good though. It's still good.
And like I said, kind of at the beginning, like that salted chocolate caramel, it's just there and it like coats the mouth. It's amazing.
I will say too, like I've seen, obviously most folks are aware of Ralphie and his reviews. When I first started watching some of his reviews, of which my wife is absolutely merciless. When she walks around and says, "Hey, malt mate! Hey, malt mate!" So she thinks it's absolutely hilarious. But regardless, watching Ralphie, sometimes when he's drinking some of those sherried flavors or sherried scotches, he'll say Christmas cake. And this is the first scotch where I've tried it, and I actually get a hint of it. It's not a very heavy flavor of Christmas cake or what we would, I guess, Americans would call fruit cake. But you can definitely tell a little bit of that flavors there as well.
You like fruitcake?
I like Christmas cake.
You like fruitcake? So like you said, I do get the tad bit of toffee, and it's not real strong because the sherry and the chocolate and all that goodness is there, but just slightly in the background there's barley sugar. Just those delicious barley sugar almost that you get with a more prominent bourbon cask, which this is not. This is more sherried cask, but it's just there in the background. So last but not least, what do you get on the finish?
As I mentioned before, you get that leathery, towards the tail end of the palate towards that finish. It goes from like a leathery finish towards that back to that sea salt / briny kind of finish, which again, it's subtle. But the biggest thing I would highlight, and again, one of the things I absolutely love about Bunnahabhain 18 is it is so smooth. A lot of scotches, certainly some of like your younger Spacesides, like if you're drinking a 12 or even a 15 of a lot of the Speyside scotches or your sherry scotches, sometimes you'll get that bite back. It hasn't had the time to really pull all the flavors out and really smooth out the scotch. That's not the case here with Bunnahabhain 18. It is smooth.
The new make spirit is not present anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the characteristic of the distillery from the new make, but like the bite from just young alcohol is just
it's not there.
Bye-bye. It is not even close to being there.
Yeah, it is just very, very smooth. So that transition from that leathery to that sea salt briny finish is just as smooth as just about any scotch I've had. So if I was going to characterize it with one word, I would say smooth.
Yep. And a lot of connoisseurs, we like to make it very clear that smooth is not the end-all be-all. Smooth is great if it's done right, but sometimes, a lot of these Diageo specifically, all they want to do is just smooth, and all they want to do is like kind of they want to do the sweet and the sour, make it all palatable and nice and just smooth, but then it's uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like the Springbank 12 cask strength. Like, would you say that was like interesting?
Yeah.
Like you don't taste those.
Yep.
Like that umami type, those notes very much. And so smooth is awesome when it's done right. And I would say this is smooth done right. So for sure. So on the finish for me, I get, let me take another sip. Kind of a honeyed black tea that kind of goes in again to that salted chocolate caramel. Mm-hmm. And lastly, and I put this down, like I didn't have this in my original tasting notes, but I put it down like right before we started this. There's like a little slight grapiness, just like real mild, which is obviously from the sherry cask. This is one of my favorite whiskeys. I know I say that a lot. This is true. This is truly in my top 5. I'm very liberal with my praise towards whiskey. This is in my top 5 for sure. So, without further ado, on a scale of 0 to 100, what would you rate this?
Well, here's the deal. Like, I would hesitate to go to 100, right? Because once you find that scotch that you would rank as 100, that's all you're ever going to buy anymore because it's never going to get any better than that. And I'll tell you, I love this whiskey, and as you said, for me, it's also my top 3, probably my top, certainly top 5, maybe top 3, which would mean that it's not 100, 100 out of 100, because I have some other scotches that I absolutely love as well. But that said, it's very, very close to perfection.
Yeah.
So for me, and I know Ralphie would probably be tripping out because I've never seen him give anything more than a 92. But I would say for me, this is probably like a 94. I'd say this is definitely 94 worthy. Yeah. It's close to that 100, but it's as close to 100 as I think a scotch is going to get.
It's funny that we actually agreed, like we were going to tell each other what we rated it before, and I actually get 94 out of 100. Sláinte. I would say go out and get this, but I actually don't want you to because it's very hard to get in the States.
So don't buy it.
So you guys in Europe, just rage, man. Enjoy it. Those of you in the States, leave this alone. This is for us and us alone.
It's fantastic.
Sláinte.
Cheers.